everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Gentoo, your source for all things gaming and tech related. I'm Aaron James.
And I'm DALTONSPIES. Let's get right into this week's up-and-coming releases. You can see these games and many more released throughout the month on your favorite platforms.
This week, we've got a release for all of the high IQ gamers out there. Xbox players finally get Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, and even something for the One Punch Man fans.
MATHLAND releases for the Switch on February 24th, a true test for only the smartest of gamers. This game includes an epic pirate adventure, jam-packed, full of challenging math games and puzzles.
Kingdom Hearts 3's Remind DLC comes out for the Xbox on February 25th. This $30 DLC includes a continuation of the story, 13 new boss battles, a new photo mode, higher difficulty levels for those who like a challenge, and you can even finally play as Riku and Kairi in this new update.
It's about time. One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows, comes out for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One on February 28th. In this game, you can form teams of 3 using your favorite characters from the One Punch universe and take down all of the world's most powerful villains.
These games and many more will be releasing throughout the month, so be sure to be on the lookout for them.
Up next, check out Wireside with Quinn.
Hello my friends, welcome back to Wireside with me, your host, Quinn Foose. Here on Wireside we talk about video games a lot. It's kinda what we do. However, most of the titles that you'll see appear on this show and on others across media platforms are AAA games with a lot of money behind them. The fact is that a vast majority of games available on the market, especially for PC gamers, are created by indie studios with a small budget and a small team working on them. Most of these games are passion projects that showcase the artistic, narrative-driven, and emotional sides of video games that we rarely see in mainstream releases. There are so many great games that come out of this genre, so today I'd like to chat about some of the best indie games that you can play right now. Let's start off with Cuphead. Cuphead is a 2D run-and-gun game developed by Studio MDHR that was released in 2017. You play as Cuphead or Mugman and fight through beautifully animated levels to defeat each boss and collect their soul to pay off your own debt to the devil himself. Cuphead has received more acknowledgement than most indie titles for its insanely difficult levels, as well as its rubber hose animation style that really helps it to stand out among the crowd. If you're looking for a challenge, check it out. Firewatch is another must-play. Released in 2016 and developed by Campo Santo, this adventure walking simulator is so much more. Though there may not really be that much to do as you wander through the Wyoming forest, the story that you experience as a volunteer fire lookout named Henry is unforgettable. Campo Santo did a wonderful job of telling an emotional story that draws in the player and connects them with Henry, and the twists and turns throughout the tale will keep you in it for the long haul. This is a short but beautiful journey sitting at about 4 hours. If you've got some spare time, give this one a chance. The final game we'll touch on is my favorite indie game that I've played to date. What Remains of Edith Finch is an adventure game that comes from developer Giant Sparrow, and you do not want to short yourself by missing out on it. The way that the creatives on the project chose to progress their storytelling through individual short stories is something I've never seen in a video game. As you move through the Finch family home, unpacking all of Edith's family secrets and discovering the truth behind her past, you'll encounter beautifully animated scenes and well-developed stories emotional beyond belief. Do yourself a favor and set aside time for this title. You won't regret it. Those are just some of the best indie games out there that you can play right now. If you've never dipped your toes into the indie market, then take my advice and jump on in. There are so many more of these games out there, so even if none of these titles that we've discussed today appeal to you, there's bound to be something out there that's up your alley. Thanks for chatting. Till next time.
Compassion is for fools. Fight!
Shao Khan the Conqueror is the living embodiment of evil itself. The Colossal Warrior is known by the rest of the Mortal Kombat roster for his extreme size, strength, as well as his brutality and ferocity. His godlike strength actually rivals, if not exceeds, that of the God of Thunder Raiden. Shao Khan is no stranger to personal executions, but will spare the lives of his subordinates if they prove they are worth keeping around. However, his unreal strength isn't his strongest power, but his insanely high battle IQ and his mastery of the black arts have allowed him to become much more than just a warlord.
Vacate my throne, or I'll soak these sands with your blood.
Much like Shang Tsung, one of his close trusted generals, Shao Khan has the ability to consume the souls of his enemies. Shao Khan is the protector of Outworld, just like Raiden is to the Earth Realm. Shao Khan first made a name for himself when he overthrew the Dragon King Onaga, the ruler of Outworld, by poisoning him, usurping his throne. After taking control of the Outworld, Shao Khan started carrying out his plan to conquer all, either through conquest or through mortal combat. Shao Kahn's most important military victory was merging Adina with Outworld.
Pretender's hands. But I've returned, and I will save you from his madness. Only I can rebuild the Empire. All realms will tremble before me. Outworld will again be conquerors. Never the conquered!
After Khan's warriors had won 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments, he invaded the realm, killing King Jarrad and taking his queen Sindela as his own wife. Many years later, Khan decided to go after the Earth realm. This is where the events of the first Mortal Kombat game start. Say what you will about Shao Khan, but you cannot deny his ability to work tenaciously towards his goals, whatever they may be. Khan is also very organized with the way he conducts plans. All of his attacks are very well thought out and well calculated. Shao Kahn's greatest weakness is definitely his overconfidence and his arrogance, oftentimes stopping in the middle of battle to mock and taunt his opponent.
You suck!
He has underestimated the power of mankind and its warriors like Liu Kang multiple times while trying to conquer the Earth Realm, which has led to him failing multiple times both with and without a queen. Shao Khan also has a blinding passion for conquering that can sometimes blind him, allowing him to be manipulated by those who are smart enough to see the weakness. Shao Khan has been destroying enemies for thousands of years, and he's definitely not going to stop anytime soon. That makes him one of the biggest and the baddest.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Expectation vs. Reality. I'm KEEGANCOOPER. This week we were back on the PSVR playing the Playroom. There were a lot of cool games to play, and it really reminded me of some of the things I did when I was a kid.
And ooh, that's a big drop. I wouldn't want to... Oh, can I do that? Can I peer over? Oh my gosh, guys, I can peer over the edge.
The first game that we played was Robot Rescue, and we got to run around and save our robot friends and fight the bad guys. It reminded me of the good old days of Cops and Robbers or Cowboys and Indians that I'd play with my friends on the weekends when I was little.
Oh, guys, it looks like I'm in front of these trees. Oh, that is a cool effect. Yeah, it felt like I was going to hit those trees. Well, let's run on through here and check this out.
Our next game was Toy Wars, and that reminded me of the Nerf Wars I had, which always took place in the hallways of my house. I can still remember getting yelled at by my sister for shooting her when she walked through the hallway. You know, setting up enemies and taking them down. That was the best of time.
Oh, no! Oh, he fell on me. Oh, I didn't even see these guys freaking out. Well, I guess I died, so... Why is my voice like this?
And last but not least, the Playroom reminded me of the imagination I had when I was a kid. And well, you can see that I definitely haven't forgotten it.
I'm a robot! Yeah! Hear me roar!
Oh,
I'm the monster! Run, robots! Run! Oh! Ah! I'm gonna get you! I'm gonna get you, little robot! Ah! 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 Run! Run!
Oh my gosh. You can knock over everyone. The pool! Bazooka!
I feel like I'm in the Matrix now. I am the Matrix. Hear me roar!
This is like a combo game. Super Mario, Matrix, dodging, Godzilla, amazingness. And I'm a little robot. I've got a high-pitched voice.
That's going to do it for this week. Although the Playroom on PSVR isn't a perfect replica of reality, it does bring back some great memories I had when I was a kid. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Spooks or Goofs, where I talk about horror games that left an impression on me, whether from being a spooktacular experience or just so bad that it was horrifying. This week we're looking at what could have been. The night of August 12th, 2014, an announcement was made at Gamescom that would change horror games and what it meant for a game to be scary. A minute-long trailer was released touting the world's first interactive teaser. After the trailer was finished rolling, it was announced that PT, which stands for Playable Teaser, was available to download that instant. As the game begins, you awaken in a dark room with only cockroaches as company. There's nowhere to go except to leave through the one door that stands in front of you, seemingly an exit. You'll stand up, head to the door, and then open it up to a well-lit hallway of what appears to be a normal home. You quickly discover that your character is pretty much incapable of performing actions besides zooming in or walking around. There's no pop-up tutorials or action buttons that tell you what to do, like opening up a door. This teaser is a purely audio and visual stimulation, and with the sheer amount of detail that's put into it, its atmosphere is top of the line. At first, everything appears normal. You have a clock that won't move past 11:59, and a disturbing message playing about a murder-suicide, but other than that, it's just your average run-of-the-mill nighttime encounter. That is, until you reach the door at the end of the hallway and learn that it leads right back to where you started this fever dream. The playable teaser does a phenomenal job of building suspense. It's eerily filled with atmospheric sounds that will send chills down your spine and cause you to hesitate as you turn each corner. And you very well should hesitate, because even though you've walked down this hallway 5 times now, you never know what you're going to encounter next. From floating spirits of decrepit women, to freakish children slamming the door on you, or even a swirling refrigerator with blood spilling out from the door hinges. The demo even makes some clever use of pre-programmed glitches, visual and audio effects designed to make the player think the game may have broke or crashed. These clever design choices added to the mystery surrounding this teaser, though it all made sense once the end was achieved. PT was not just a random debut for a new hopeful game studio. As the credits for the teaser roll, you're graced with a cutscene revealing the face of your character as he embarks through foggy streets. Names Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, and Norman Reedus flash across the screen before revealing that this teaser was for the new Silent Hills game. The gaming world went crazy. This would be Kojima's first horror game, and the first game outside of the Metal Gear series in years. Soon after, Kojima was fired from Konami, and then Silent Hills was scrapped. Not all hope is lost for a Kojima-led horror game, though. A couple of weeks after the release of Death Stranding, Kojima took to Twitter to make it known that his next game would be horror-focused. I hope this nightmare gets to see the light of day this time. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week for more Spooks or Goofs.
Hey! Who are you people? What do you want from me?
We want the numbers, Mason. That's all we've ever wanted.
Welcome back to COD Reviews. I'm your host, Charles Cepino, and today we will be talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 1. I'd have to say Black Ops 1 was a complete game changer for me, and here's why. The zombies already sums it up for me, but the multiplayer was so much more different than Modern Warfare 2. Granted, it had a lot to live up to, because everybody loved Modern Warfare 2. So I imagine, just like me, others had really high hopes for the next release, and Treyarch came through and made a solid game. First off, I just want to talk about the zombies because I played that more than multiplayer or the campaign combined. If you ever played Call of Duty World at War Zombies, you know how much had changed. They put so much time into Easter eggs, it still blows my mind. Kino der Toten is a legendary map and consumed so much of my time. I remember having the same 3 friends, and for a while I would play zombies with them and only them. We all had a specific strategy we used to try and make it to the highest round we could over and over and over again. It's pretty crazy looking back on it, because you really couldn't win in zombies and nobody really cared. Everybody knew they'd die and lose, they just didn't know when. There was just so much more to do in this one compared to World at War. It's also pretty crazy to me how the background story actually made sense and connected all of it. Like I said earlier, I know that the multiplayer had a lot to live up to, and it did its job. I liked almost every map on this game, and every gun too. I like how they introduced wager matches because I play that a lot as well. You could play 4 game modes, being gun game, sticks and stones, one in the chamber, and sharpshooter. I probably played gun game more than any of the other ones. I like how they gave out a reward system for winning other than just XP and unlocks that you already knew you were going to get. It reminded me a lot of free-for-all in the sense that you didn't have a team to carry you, it was just you who won. And I can't talk about Black Ops without bringing up Nuketown. Nuketown has to be the most iconic Call of Duty map out. That's probably why they reintroduced it in like 2 or 3 other Call of Duties. The gameplay felt a lot different than Modern Warfare 2, and I wasn't all that good at multiplayer, but I still had a blast playing it. I was always more of an Infinity Ward guy over Treyarch, but I have to give respect where it's due. They made a solid game. I always liked sniping in previous Call of Duties, but I just never got good at it either. My favorite gun was the FAMAS, and I rarely ever used anything else. Overall, it was just a well-rounded game, and definitely a top 3 for me. Well, thank you for watching, and tune in next week as I dive into the next game in the Black Ops series, Black Ops 2.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Project Delta. I'm DaltonSPIES, your host, and with me this week is
Keegan Cooper.
And this week there are a couple reasons I want to talk about the Division 2. So the first reason being, for whatever reason, Ubisoft decided to put this game on a huge sale this last week, putting the game that is usually still about $60 at a deep discount of just $3, which is kind of an insane but also a really great way to get the game into people's hands and make some money along the way. And another reason I wanted to talk about is there's a new expansion for the game coming out soon called Warlords of New York, which is probably why they're selling the game for so cheap. In this expansion, you get to return to New York, which is where the first game was set. And those are really the big reasons. Definitely not because there is a big virus scare right now, and this game is based on the spread of what was thought to be a mildly severe virus. But so Keegan, I know you don't have a whole lot of experience with these games, but what do you know?
So I know that from the Division, you know, there was a virus, and the whole idea of Division and Division 2 now is to kind of take back the city and kind of rebuild the city. Mm-hmm. So with this new DLC coming out, I expect to see, like, you know, kind of like a bunch of different gangs and a bunch of different warlords start to come out, and you have to, you know, defeat them per se, and you know, take back the city and go through that. The weapons that you get to use and stuff like that is really cool to see, and I'm excited to see where the DLC goes.
Yeah, it's just a really, like, pretty solid tactical shooter, which is what a lot of the Tom Clancy games are, especially like you have there's like Ghost Recon, and what we haven't seen in forever, Splinter Cell will eventually probably come out, maybe, if Ubisoft gets their stuff together. Here's some more people for Keegan to stop from spreading disease. But as I said earlier, there was a deadly virus that started spreading on Black Friday, which of course is a huge shopping day where everybody is out doing things, especially in a big city like New York. So the disease spread fast, so eventually the city tried to round up and quarantine everybody, which didn't work very well, and also some radical factions popped up along the way to make matters even worse. So you, as a member of the Division, get to come in and basically, you know, like we said, rebuild the city and get rid of the radical factions, which then leads us to the Division 2, where the game starts with us getting a distress call from the White House. So, you know, who knows what timeline this is set in. Who knows who our president is? It might be The Rock, it might be Kanye. Chief Keef might have got the nomination. But that's pretty much where we're at now. So we just got to the White House, and now we're heading to a nearby theater to help somebody move that bus like they're in Extreme Makeover Home Edition. And you know, Keegan found some enemies along the way. But yeah, Keegan, what are you thinking so far of this game and just kind of how it feels?
I like the feeling. I'm a huge third-person fan. I kind of like this isolated cam that we're seeing with this third person. The movement's really nice. You know, obviously, you know, shoot and loot. That's always pretty fun.
Keegan's favorite. And I don't know. This game feels just a little bit clunky to me. Just a little bit. I don't know if it's the button scheme or the aims. The aiming doesn't feel as snappy. It's not. Maybe I'm just a bad shot, but I don't feel like I'm as accurate. Maybe the auto aim is really bad on it. But yeah, it just feels a little bit clunky. I haven't gotten super far into it. Hopefully as my playing time with the game goes on, I get more accurate. But yeah. Back to the two big reasons for bringing this game in. The first being the new Warlords of New York expansion. You know it's going to be some fat with the PH DLC when they use the word expansion. And this one definitely seems pretty big. So a rogue X-Division member has used his power to take back New York, and we have to go back to New York and stop him. So him and his boys, or maybe girls, they have a new strain of the virus, and they're like spreading it all over the place just because, you know, who doesn't want to be patient zero? That sounds really fun. But so along with that, you can now level up to 40 with that brings the cap from 30 all the way up to 40. So you get a whole new 10 levels. There's new skills, new endgame content for all their Division 2 faithful. So Keegan, maybe not even just this game, but in general, how do you feel about when games release huge new paid content updates, like something that Destiny or World of Warcraft has been doing for a long time?
So I absolutely love DLC, and I think that when a game decides to kind of release it, it brings fans back that have, you know, played the game and then just kind of, you know, left the game after they beat it the first time. So I think that that's what they're trying to do here with the Division is, you know, bring us something new to be a part of and bring the, you know, the fan base back to the Division. Because I know I've always been a huge fan of Tom Clancy games, but it is true that once you play it once, like there's not a lot to do.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of replayability.
But with its new DLC, we can see a lot of our fans, or a lot of the fans of Division, you know, start to come back. And
oh, okay. Can we go? No, what? Do we drop something? Is that not like something like a? There we go.
There we go. I can drop down now. But no, huge DLCs are always a great way to kind of bring a fan base back, you know, back.
Yeah,
to
especially
the games.
because like those big expansions usually cost just a teeny bit more, by a teeny bit, like maybe double what a regular like minor DLC would be. But usually like the amount of content that they can just kind of shove into those big updates really kind of makes up for any doubts, any reasons why you might not want to pick it up. But so now the big reason why I wanted to really talk about this, and mostly the reason why I even bought this game in the first place, is that huge discount. I think it was a genius move by Ubisoft to offer this game for so cheap. With games that are a year or two old like this one, most people who want to pay full price or close to full price for this game, they've already bought it. You know, anybody else, they don't really want to touch it. So in order to reach those people who will buy it for cheap, they do this and hope that that person who buys it for cheap will spend their money elsewhere within the game, whether it be in microtransactions or buying the new New York DLC. So
those microtransactions.
Who doesn't love them micros? But I want to know, do you think this is a smart move by Ubisoft offering the game at such a low price?
I think it is, you know, trying to get to, you know, get back, because Tom Clancy games are usually huge when they first release, but targeting an audience who maybe didn't pick up the game when it first came out, or didn't pick it up when it first took that first price decline. Because, you know, dropping $40 on a game isn't always, or $60 on a brand new game isn't always something that a lot of people are going to want to do, unless it's one of those games that they know, okay, this is one of my favorite games. And this is a style of gameplay that appeals to a lot of people. So you get that third-person shoot and loot, a great story. So I can definitely see why Ubisoft made the move, and I do agree. I think it was a great move. I think that a lot of people will pick it up. And
they're doing the number one smart thing, which is getting their game in the hands of the gamers. You know, like that's what we do, is we play video games. So when you make it so they're more available to us, it's just easier for, you know, like it'll be more of a favorable time. Like, you know, you might pick this game up and be like, yeah, you know, like it was okay. It wasn't like super great, but then you think like, a deer just ran past you.
A deer just ran past.
But you'll be like, you know, I only spent like $3 on that game, and I got so much like playtime out of it, whether it was really like super fun or I didn't enjoy it at all. But it's like, you know, you get a good return on investment, because there's games where I played The Witcher 3. I think I spent, you died again.
I just died.
I think I spent $20 for all of The Witcher 3 and its content. and I got like 100 hours out of it. So you just like do the math and think about how much entertainment I got per hour. It's amazing. So, you know, Keegan, I think sometimes you just got to celebrate games and have a good time.
Amen to that.
And speaking of good times, Keegan, we had a great time today.
We did.
You died.
I did.
But we helped stop some infection.
Yeah, with an AK-47.
That's how the Russians do it, right? But so thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Gen 2.
That's how the AK-47.